This is a big story tonight. The Trump administration is moving towards a more merit-based immigration system. That's been a goal of theirs from the beginning, requiring immigrants who apply for U.S. citizenship to prove that they will not be a burden on society. That basic law has been in place for a long time before they are issued a green card. The newly expanded public charge rule allows the government to disqualify some applicants based on their reliance on programs like Medicaid, some types of housing assistance, or even food stamps.
We certainly expect people of any income to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. And so if people are not able to be self-sufficient, then this negative factor is going to bear very heavily against them in a decision about whether they'll be able to become a legal permanent resident.
Critics, and there are plenty, see things differently.
It's a very intentional effort by the Trump administration to continue to target immigrant communities with cruelty and with fear.
New York's Attorney General says that he plans to sue the administration to stop this. The state of California also considering action. Karl Rove, former deputy chief of staff under President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor, and Juan Williams, co-host of The Five and Fox News political analyst. Karl, can you justify this? Is it justifiable?
Well, since 1999, this rule has been in place, and it already denies, under U.S. law that provided for the rule, it denies welfare benefits to a large number of people. For example, the traditional welfare check, you can't get supplementary security, SSI, supplementary security income under Social Security. There are a whole bunch of programs that are already off limits to immigrants and to visa holders. This adds 2 programs, food stamps and Medicaid. And it's not the determinative. This is not dispositive. You have to look at that in the last 36 months and what factors cause you to think during their habits in the last 36 months that they're going to be able to take care of themselves, and which will mean that they have to rely upon public assistance. And in 12 months out of the last 36, have they been dependent upon food stamps and Medicaid would count as negative marks against them.
So, one, the idea is that, if you're going to become a citizen, you should be self-sufficient. An enormous amount of our pie is spent on entitlements already in the country. So, why should we take in more people who are going to just add to that burden, is the word in this law that's been on the books since 1999.
Well, I don't think that's the argument. I think this is really about punishing immigrants, and I think it's political. I think it's sending a message to the Trump base that he's anti-immigrant. He didn't get the wall. I think he tried to get merit-based admission to the country into the books and didn't do so, and so I think this is a way to circumvent that. Again, we know that the president wanted to cut certainly illegal immigration. The difference here, Martha, is that this is about people who came to the USA legally. And he is particularly interested in halting people who come from low-income countries. So I would think that it's mostly people coming from Latin America, Africa, the Caribbean, and the like. And I think that it's very difficult to say to us as Americans, as you just pointed out, who we rely oftentimes at different points in our life on public aid, to say that is a disqualification, that you can't have the American dream if at any point someone in your family or you had a medical issue.
This is people who want to become citizens, and then they're being measured sort of on how it's going so far, and are they, have they gotten on their own 2 feet, and have they moved forward? Here's Kamala Harris. This is going to be a very hot topic for 2020. Watch this, and then I want to get Karl's thought.
This administration has directed DHS to conduct these raids as part of what I believe is this administration's campaign of terror, which is to make whole populations of people afraid to go to work. Children are afraid to go to school for fear that when they come home, their parents won't be there.
Karl.
Look, this is over the top. Let's be honest. Nobody was screaming about the Clinton administration saying that immigrants couldn't get any kind of our basic welfare program, TANF, largest expenditure we make in welfare. They couldn't get it for the same process. 12 out of 36 previous months would be a negative factor in consideration of giving them a green card. That could be offset by positive factors. This is a change, but it's not the huge change, and it's certainly not punishment. It's simply expanding the number of items that have to be taken into consideration.
Last thought, one real quick.
Well, I think there's no way to measure it, so it's very arbitrary, and I think that that's why it's prompting a lot of fear. And also, people need health care or an assistant at some juncture. Shouldn't be a reason to kick them out.